And now, more with Social Women, with your hosts, Pat Cruz, Amy Diaz, and Bronwyn Dannenfelser.
I'm Enrichment consultant Johanna Corcoran, who also runs incredible mother-daughter workshops, which help parents envision and create their ideal family life. I don't have kids, but Pat, I'm gonna hand it over to you because I can only talk about what kind of child I was.
Or the one you no. This is all about what you want it to be. So
Okay. Yes.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to find the guy with the shoes.
Oh yeah, with the shoes, the good shoes, and the cufflinks.
And the cufflinks.
Yes. Anyway, so tell us a little about Familytopia
Yes.
and your workshops.
Sure. Familytopia was really born when I returned to work when my daughter was 2 years old. And what happened was I was very prepared for the guilt that everyone said I was going to feel. Oh, you're leaving her for like 9 hours every day. You're barely going to be a parent to her. And I said, okay, I can deal with that. What I wasn't, right, well, it was a necessary move, so I had to do it. But what I wasn't prepared for was the guilt that I was going to feel with the time I was actually spending with her. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is when I had her home, after I picked her up at 5:30 and I was getting dinner on the table and I was doing laundry and I was giving her a bath and doing all these things, we weren't connecting. I was putting her to bed at night and I was feeling empty. I wasn't feeling like we'd had a chance to talk about our day, and I didn't feel like I was having a chance to be a mother to her. So what I did is I put together my very first workshop where I called on my human development training from college, and it was called Family Moments in a Fast-Paced World. And it continues to be one of my most popular workshops, and it really helps parents figure out, okay, we're busy, we get it, we're running around with like a chicken with our head cut off, our kids are involved in 8 different extracurricular activities. Oh, and by the way, I need to eat too.
Yeah.
That's right. But it really helps parents say, all right, now even though this stuff is going on, how can we add more quality moments to the moments that we have? And that's how Familytopia was born. I started going into businesses and offering this workshop, and the response was overwhelming. Parents were staying behind afterwards and talking with each other and really connecting on a whole new level about how they can be parents and work full-time at the same time.
Have you ever thought about doing these for as parents, for couples, like as parents? Because I find that from what I've heard from relationships and whether you're married or not, that seems to be an issue as well. So yes, it's as a parent with your kids, but as a couple as well too. You come home and you're kind of doing your own thing, and
right. Well,
maybe that's a thought.
it's a great thought.
Familytopia. It's just it's the entire family.
That's exactly
right.
Phase 2.
Yeah,
thank you. Right?
Phase 2.
You're absolutely right. It is about the entire family, and I think a lot of parents will admit that oftentimes they feel like they're 2 ships passing in the night with their partner, and finding ways to connect, with your partner sets a great example for your children, and it actually creates a more happy family life. So,
which is it's not easy.
No.
It is not easy to make all those components work together.
Yep.
So.
My husband's listening, and he's probably nodding his head right now.
Well, that's I can't.
Is that a conversation for a different time?
That's another one. Anyway, so
Familytopia 2.
Yes.
But these are really great things to think about, because what you just said, I'm saying to myself, absolutely, yes, that's what I thought. Because it wasn't as much for me, I have 3.
Yeah.
When I went to work and they were younger. And I've been lucky enough that I've not ever really punched a clock. Not that I could anyway, because I'm not the most timely person in the world. But quiet, Larry. Anyway. But
You're lucky my mic was off.
I can hear the rest of the building saying, yeah. I hear them laughing out there. Anyway, I never really had to punch a clock, so I could come in and go as I please, and I could bring my children, even as babies, in with me to my photography studio, makeup studio when I had it, and could bring them in and bring them home. But I found it was easier to not have them there, get more work done, instead of, because I'd sit down and start playing with them and I get nothing done, then we'd be there later. But I found that as they're getting older now, as they're out of that infant baby stage, and as they're getting older, and older than toddler, child school age, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and up, that's what I find my biggest problem is. I work, I go home, and then that's when my stress point starts. So I've got laundry, I've got dishes, I've got, work that I'm still on my mind that I'm trying to do, and to check the emails and voice messages and text messages and trying to get homework done. And that's where the biggest part of my problem comes in. So give me a little tip on that. What can I do to help that out?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember that we can't do everything. And as somebody very, very wise once said, your kids are not going to remember about the clean house. They're going to remember the time that you spent sitting with them and hearing about their day. So it's important to remember that. And I always ask parents to tell me what you remember from your childhood. So, when you were saying, what kind of kid you were, I think that's the first step to figuring out how we want to parent. How were we parented? What were the great things that we remember from our childhood? What were the things that we would do differently?
See, my son doesn't remember a clean house, but he sure knows how to dirty it back up again. Every time we come home, the stuff is in the same place.
Nice. Well,
he's consistent.
He is.
How old is he?
He'll be a year next Friday.
Oh, okay. He's a
So
year.
he's in that, he walks, he can get into everything.
Oh, yes.
All the wrong things.
Yep, and he's learning that he can be messy and he can create these fabulous messes. At one, it's all about being fabulously messy.
He learned that a month in.
Just wait, it gets better, by the way.
Nice.
Great.
Well, tell us. Go ahead. Give me a few little. I need help with this because
absolutely.
it is. I have 3 children.
Who need you?
So yes, they do, and it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And who wants to go? I'm sitting here in the show, and who's texting me, "Mom, I'm hungry, and I need to go here tonight. What time will you be back so you can take me? And I want to do this, and I want to do that, and can I go pick up this?" So okay, now that starts because I know when I get home, it's going to be chaotic and crazy and feed everyone. And so how do I make that time a little more special?
Yeah. Family dinners. Huge. If you can do it, which I know that it's a very tough thing to do these days with everybody running around with different schedules. So if you can swing a family dinner a few nights a week, don't commit to 7 days. Don't set yourself up for something that isn't going to work. But also, it doesn't have to be dinner. It can be any other type of food gathering. I know somebody who does a Sunday brunch with her family because Monday through Friday, they all can't get together at the same time. So they sit down on Sundays and they have a nice family brunch together, and that's their once a week tradition.
That's so interesting that you say that because that's one of the things that I remember the most about growing up. My mother was very adamant about us having dinner
Sunday dinner.
No. Every single day of the week. That is what we did. Regardless of what we had going on, if I had ballet or cheerleading or my brothers had karate or baseball or whatever it may have been, somehow, some way between 3 and 6, we were all home eating together. And then everyone went their separate ways. My mom would do her rounds where she dropped everyone off and she picked everyone up. It's like by the time she got to the last point, she had to come back and pick the other 2 up. So
did she work?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't work. She didn't have a 9 to 5, but she did real estate stuff. So yeah. But it was one of those things where it happened every single day.
Yes, that's.
Like, I got to go home. I never did anything after school except for after school programs and cheerleading. And if we had a game, it's like I better be home before you go off to cheer for the game because we're waiting for you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the programs, and when do you run them? What do they consist of? Are they groups or are they smaller programs, larger programs?
Sure, I'm happy to.
Okay,
Actually,
good.
I want to start by going back to something that you'd said a few minutes ago, Pat, about the fact that you were really lucky to have jobs where you could sort of come and go and work around your young children's schedules. And unfortunately, that's not a reality for most working mothers and fathers these days. What I'd like to say, though, is that employers in Rhode Island are starting to get hip to this, and they are starting to find ways where they can offer flex time and they can offer some flexibility for working parents. So what I do with my programs is I actually work hand in hand with these employers, and I bring these workshops to the workplace. So rather than ask a parent to take time away from their family at night or on a weekend to come and hear one of my programs, I meet them where they are at work. They bring their lunch into the conference room and they gather together as parents and they connect, and they, on a different level than they really get a chance to throughout the rest of their workday. And then they also get a chance to add some more tricks to their parenting, toolkit. So I think, hats off off to a lot of the employers in Rhode Island that I'm working with now. Neighborhood Health Plan of Rhode Island is one of my best clients. They offer every single program that I come up with. Lifespan, another really great employer that is definitely interested. So, you know, there's hope out there for moms who don't necessarily have the flexibility that other moms have with being able to be self-employed. So,
Well, just because you're self-employed
Does
does
not.
not make it easier.
No,
in some
absolutely
respect,
not. Nope.
because you know that job doesn't stop. You know, as soon as the kids are sleeping, I'd be
back.
I'd be taking a nap with them, and really, I have always had the kids 3-4 o'clock stop, or as much as I can.
Yeah.
Have dinner, get everybody homework, showers. My son now, or any of the kids fall asleep, I fall asleep with them. And then
Let me tuck you in.
Yes,
and then
I
he's
will
tucking
be
you
out
in.
cold. My son has covered me up with a blanket, given me the little pillow,
Oh.
tucked me in on the
love it.
couch or on my bed many, many times. He's great like that.
Nice.
But then I'll get up at midnight again, and then I'll work. So, and then I'll
Yeah.
work till 2 or 3, and then I'll go back and take another little nap. So,
Yeah.
working for yourself isn't always the best either.
No, and it is a 24/7
Yeah.
sort of thing, so you have to do what you love.
It is.
We have been talking about your mother-daughter workshops and the inner self-esteem, or Spark Your Inner Self-Esteem program that you have in seminars. Tell us about that.
Well, what this is it's a seminar that's designed specifically for mothers and daughters or adult female caregivers and girls to start this very important conversation. Moms are the front line of defense for our girls to help combat a lot of these messages that we're hearing in the media. And really, it starts with mom. And I was reminded of this actually when my daughter was 3, and this is how I got really interested in this. She got dressed, she walked over to a full-length mirror, and guess what she did? She did the butt check. You know what I'm talking about. She did this. And I stood there and I said, no, she did not just do that. And it really caused me to say, wait a minute, where did she learn this? Oh my goodness, she learned it from me, right? Because we all do it, ladies.
Yes.
Do you do it, Larry? No butt check for you.
Larry's still thinking about the cleavage and showing the leg
Oh,
from an
poor
earlier
Larry. Yeah.
segment.
New
There you
Year's
go.
Eve.
So
I got
really,
enough to worry about with the cleavage in the leg. Yeah.
no butt.
No, I can't do the butt check. I don't have a butt.
Oh,
Okay.
well then, there you
It just
go.
goes
It's
back
not an
into
issue.
legs. That's
I love it.
I'm one of those no butts.
Just wait till your 1-year-old gets going. Yeah.
And I chase him.
Yeah.
But that was a huge, huge moment for me. I said, oh my goodness, here she is. She's growing up watching this. So what can I do to help make sure that she's developing a healthy self-esteem where she doesn't feel the need to do that? So I started working with the Dove Campaign for Real Beauty. It's a nationwide program.
Okay, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, they did great work. Unfortunately, the program's ended. They've changed their focus a bit, so they're not sort of having us facilitators go out into the community anymore. But this need is still huge, and that's why I've developed this Inner Spark self-esteem workshop for mothers and daughters. It sort of picks up where the Dove workshop leaves off and goes a lot deeper. And we look at self-esteem from a different angle. We look at it from the mattering angle. Gregory Elliott, he's a Brown University professor. He did a lot of research on how mattering impacts an adolescent's self-esteem, and he found that adolescents who attempt suicide or engage in other non-pro-social behaviors do it because they don't feel like they matter. They don't feel like they matter to their families, to their communities, and that's a common refrain we hear in adolescence. Oh, no one in this family cares about me. No one asks me my opinion. And I don't matter. I could come and go and no one would care. And that's what he found, that this really is the cornerstone for self-esteem. So what we do in this workshop is we figure out how the girls can find ways to matter and how the moms can too. This workshop is not just about the daughters. There's huge transformations that go on behalf of the moms as well, because we reflect on what we learned growing up from our moms who did the best they could, but they don't have the information that we have now. So that's really where this workshop came from, and that's really the focus of it.
Wow.
That's
It's-
very interesting.
And here in one of your literatures I have here that it's appropriate for girls ages 8 to 14 and their mothers or adult male mentor.
Absolutely.
So how can our listeners get in touch with you one more time?
myfamilytopia.com is my website. I'm on Facebook as well under Familytopia.
Yes.
And before we go, I just want to give you ladies a special gift I brought you.
Yeah!
Yay!
Another Santa!
Yes, these are fortune cookies,
Fortune
but these are
cookies.
not just any fortune cookie. These have special messages that I've created inside about
I
inner
love that.
beauty, and everybody who does my workshop gets these as well. I'm leaving you a bag of them and asking you to pass it along.
Yes.
And I'm already reading mine because I can't wait.
Let's hear
It's
the message.
even from the darkest nights, songs of beauty can be born. Thank you so much.
Oh, do I have time to read mine?
Yes, you do. And while you're opening yours, I'm going to thank all of our listeners for tuning in today.
And our guests
Yes,
for being with
our
us today.
guests
They
were
were fabulous.
fantastic. Please join us next week. Bronwyn will be back. She better because there's only so much warming of her chair that I can do. But thank you so
we
much
missed
for
you,
joining
Bronwyn.
us.
We totally missed you today, but I have to read this. 'cause
Yes,
this
you
is
do.
Very cool. Your way with words will help a few people. Make them kind words, and you will help many.
Oh, that's
I
perfect
love
for you,
that.
Pat.
It really is.
I
I
love
firmly believe that the fortunes that you get in these are meant specifically for you.